Spurs won their first match of pre-season with a 2-0 win at Reading. As usual at the start of the season, there's lots to be excited about, so let's have a look at some key points and summarise which players I think can be crucial this term. In the first half, Spurs set up something like this, whereas in the second half, they set up more like this. The only tactical difference between the first and second half are the wingers and the fullbacks. First half, the left back, Udogie, overlapped, while the winger, Moore, was able to sit narrower and often drift infield, while on the right hand side we saw right back Porro sit deep, while right winger Johnson held the width a bit more. Second half was the same kind of theory, but just the other way around. So you had the right winger Kudus being a bit narrower, while we had Spence able to be a bit wider and high, whereas left winger Son was a bit wider, with Davis, the left back, sitting narrower and deep. So overall I don't think we actually gained too much tactical information from this game. After all, it was just the first pre-season friendly, but based off it, I assume that we'll line up in a variation of this 4-2-3-1 structure. I think we don't know too much because at the end of the day, Thomas Frank's very adaptable. He'll make these small tweaks, and during the real season, hopefully we'll see an impact from this. Saying that though, I feel like we're more likely to set up like we did in the first half against Reading, which I think looked fairly fluid, and it was certainly good defensively, although I was a little bit disappointed to see that Pedro Porro at right back was pretty limited to sitting deep, basically alongside the centre backs in position, while fellow fullback Udogie was allowed to bomb forward down the left. I think we all can agree that Porro is just better offensively, while Udogie's a really decent defensive left back. So for me it makes sense that they are either both overlapping and high, like what Udogie was doing, or probably my favourite option, where we'd get Porro going further forward, where you've got Udogie sitting deeper, which is basically the inverse of what we saw. Then again, if we do have Udogie playing this higher and wider role, I'm honestly sure that he will do a good job. I feel like he's going to show just how good he really is this season. He's a complete fullback who has great stamina and a great work rate. Trust me, I just checked fantasy football, it just got released. I saw that he's 4.5, Udogie's straight in my team. The reason that we see the left back playing high and wide is because Frank clearly wants the left winger to sit narrower and be a creative hub and affect games centrally. Moore showed some promise in this role, but for me Maddison could be the one who's really dangerous in this position. I mean, this role needs a player who's creative, good at dribbling in tight spaces, a good decision maker, and a player who can score goals, which are all things that Maddison's just really good at. This will also free up the number 10 role for Gibbs White to play, if we ever actually sign him. Please sign him. I just hope that Frank's vision is to play Maddison in this left side role. Maddison's a top technician, and this role will bring out the best in him. The main story from the Reading game was of course Luka Vuskovic, and luckily absolutely no one is overreacting to his performance. Well, maybe a little bit, but I mean, if we can't get excited about a guy scoring and assisting 6 minutes into his debut, as a defender by the way, then are we ever allowed to actually get excited? Defensively he didn't have much to do in fairness, although he still made a goal line clearance of sorts, even though Vicario did definitely have it covered. Vuskovic looked very composed on the ball, and I think he'll complement Van de Ven very well. But in truth, I do look forward to seeing him in a more competitive defensive game, because he wasn't faced with much yet. But, I mean, from what we've seen, he seems to be a Rolls-Royce defender. Of course, the real highlights from Vuskovic were going forward. In one of my short videos I made a week or so ago, watch them by the way, I called Vuskovic an aerial and physical monster. Well, yeah, I can say that again. He dominated at set pieces, immediately assisting Will Lancashire for the opener. But Vuskovic's goal wasn't even to do with his physicality, just a Harry Kane-esque strike. Kudus laid it off to him, and the finish was sublime into the corner. For a defender, his attacking instincts are ridiculous. Seems like Spurs finally have some centre-back depth. Romero, Van de Ven, Danso, Vuskovic, Dragusin, Takai and Davis. Hopefully this means that we can also rotate easier. I think that even with these options, we can maybe even play a 5 at the back. The final player I want to mention is Rodrigo Bentancur. He played in the defensive midfield role in a double pivot alongside Pape Sarr. Bentancur's a silky player, and I think that alongside the correct player, we can see a really top individual here. But I'm not 100% convinced that pairing him with Bergvall is actually brilliant for balance. While I am a big fan of Bergvall, I'm not sure that either him or Bentancur have a brilliant level of defensive intelligence or bite. I think that every video I've made on this channel about Tottenham, I've mentioned Carlos Baleba in, so might as well do it again. For me, the Brighton man just seems a great fit to play here. Then again, I'm not against the Jalpalinia links. I think that we either need a progressive player that can carry the ball forward with either dribbling or passing, the likes of Angelo Stiller, Baliba, or Adam Wharton, or a great midfield destroyer, which is basically Polinia, a destructive player. Ideally, we can get a mix of both, hence why Baliba's my guy. I think that if you look at all those options, he's the one that gives you the best mix. Realistically, the most important players in modern football teams are the defensive midfielders, and they need a mix of these destructive qualities and progressive qualities to be top class. This is why the likes of Rodri, Rice, even Gravenberch, Caicedo are held in such high regard. So, overall, I think a lot can change tactically, and I'll be very interested by the Arsenal, Newcastle and Bayern matches. I think that they'll tell us a lot more important information than these Reading and Luton games. I want to say there's some good, more in-depth tactical analysis videos, especially about the Reading match, that maybe give a deeper dive than this one. So I recommend to watch them basically. But for now, from my point of view, I'm more interested in player analysis. I feel like in pre-season there's always a few players who come back rejuvenated. I'm super excited to see the likes of Vuskovic, Udogi, Maddison when he comes back from injury, and also Bentancur. I feel like they can really be great for us this season. Thanks to you guys who watched this video. I'd love to know what kind of videos do you enjoy. Do you want the more long, detailed tactical analysis ones, or do you want videos about players like this one? If you comment below, that'll be really useful for me. So yeah, thank you for watching, and cheerio.